Hey, Julie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of the Growth Invitation. Today, actually, it's episode 7, where we bring on powerful females from all around the world to share with you their stories of challenges, of growth, and how they really went all the way down to the depths of the darkness and then come back out the other side as an invitation and an inspiration to you all out there who, whether you're watching live or whether you're actually listening to the replay, so that you know that no matter what, no matter where you are, what you've experienced, what your starting point is, you can always choose to grow and manifest your dream future. And today we have the amazing Chivonne Gabriel with us. Hello,
Hey,
Chivonne.
everyone. Hey, Janette. How's it going?
Amazing. Super, super excited about having our conversation today because, we've been on a massive, massive journey together.
Mhm.
Um, and, we know a lot about our background, but actually, all of the stories that we've had and we share with each other is so powerful. So that's why I really wanted to bring you on today to share with us, you know, who are you now and where did you come from, essentially from the depths of those darkness? What did that look like? So first of all, let's give you a little bit of time to do a quick intro to yourself. It says on their title as coach and psychotherapist, but there's a lot more to that.
Right. Well, thank you again for the invitation and to offer up a little bit more about me. So, I've been in the mental health field for this would be year 22, 22 years in the mental
Wow.
health field and recently delved into coaching. So I'm marrying the two because they work so beautifully together. And my work is primarily with women, where we really delve into what it is to rediscover, rebuild, and just renew yourself after experiencing some difficult hardship. Presently, I work full time for the VA, but I'm also an entrepreneur. I have my own LLC called the Mosaic Refinery, and that's where we do that wonderful work. I also do some work in the corporate space, offering organizational wellness training to business leaders and developers that are trying to just save their companies as well and offer people some mental health and well-being in that space because we are all stressed out and tired. Okay, so
Absolutely. Like, who is it? Like, I would love to hear from those who are like, No point am I ever stressed out. No point am I ever
right,
tired. Please contact us below."
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do some voluntary work with a nonprofit, so I kind of got my hands in a few things, keeping
That
busy, serving the
is
people.
amazing. And it really goes along, that massive kind heart that you have. You've got massive personality and you really bring everything to like you bring your whole full self to every single thing that you do, and it's so beautiful to watch as well and to witness. So whoever is watching this, make sure you do connect with Chiffon after this because she is an incredible speaker. So make sure you do connect with her, just to, even if you want to watch her speak, it's mesmerizing. But now we're going to get a little bit taste of that. So tell us then about your story, please. We would love to hear more about, this title that we've got on today. It's something that you came up with because actually, from your personal experience, it's not been an easy journey, but you've come out the other side with really beautiful things that did really come from hard places.
Yes. So where to begin? So as much as I have been in the wellness space, in the mental health space, serving hundreds and maybe at this point thousands of people between women, children, veterans, families, you name it, I have done it, right? There really was a time when I really did not know how best to even serve and take care of myself. Um, it was June of about 2011 or so. or was it 2010? But either way, it was one summer, several summers ago, about 14, 15 years ago, when I was going through a separation at that time. And, you know, I would imagine most people when they get married, the idea is to stay married, right? You don't get married with the intention of coming apart, but you don't know what you don't know until you get there. And I found myself in the midst of the separation really just lost and confused about how I'd gotten where I'd gotten. And though I was in therapy, I was still desperately trying to work things out. And in so doing, I found myself pregnant. And now I was beside myself because I don't know which way is up with this marriage that I'm in. Now I'm pregnant for him, but our relationship is shaky. So,
Mm.
how am I going to go forward? How do I even tell my family what's going on? My friends are really supportive, but it was hard. And what was really hard about that time, too, is that my girlfriends who were married at the time were starting their families. So, there were all these growing bellies around me. And now I'm having to go through this pregnancy, and I don't know if I'm going to have a partner. Well, Janette, before you know it, what was a shaky pregnancy, a shaky relationship, shaky marriage turned into a miscarriage. And
Mm.
that pain began and just sent me to my knees. And it's amazing that even all these years later, when I talk about it, it still feels as if it wasn't that long ago.
Mm.
And so in that space of time, I lost the baby and he and I were done. Like there was no recovery from that. I lost the baby. I lost the marriage. I lost the house. And I lost most of all myself. And so that was my rock bottom. One of those days, because the days turns into weeks and turned into months, I found myself walking around a park. And this park I really loved going to. It's called Centennial Park in Columbia, Maryland. And walking in that park, I was just searching for answers, searching for God, searching for meaning, searching for direction, searching for myself. Like, I need something like to pick me up off this ground. And I will never forget coming across this like massive piece of concrete. You know, like nothing is like smooth. And in the middle of that concrete, I tell you no lie, Janette, there's like this tiny little flower that is just standing so tall. And I'm like,
Wow.
flower in the midst of that broken concrete. This tiny little flower was standing there, and it was like shades of pink and just there by itself. And for me, it was the first time I could hearly clear God say, in the midst of all of this turmoil, all of this obscurity, that beautiful things grow in hard places. And that was like the first flicker of hope, the first flicker of light that said, you know what, like this is hard, but it will not always be like this. And I can emerge from this situation standing tall, being beautiful with all the scars that I'm enduring at this time, with all of the wounds. I can rise from this. Like this is not going to be the end. And matter of fact, it might as well really be the beginning of something beautiful. And so I dug deep. Like I was still in therapy, and sometimes I was in therapy twice a week, okay, because your girl needed the help. And so I dug into that. I dug into my community. I leaned into my therapist. I had a really strong prayer partner and a group of girlfriends that held me down. Some came to the house and cried with me. They just sat with me and just prayed for me and helped me walk this thing out. And I learned then, like I learned a few things out of that experience, that we all go through difficulty, but we have an opportunity. That's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity to rebuild. an opportunity to rediscover, an opportunity to define life as I wanted it going forward. I didn't have to just accept the way things were, but I would have to do the work. I would have to do the work. And so that is now what I offer to other people. I was already a decent therapist, but this experience of going through what was my greatest fear was to lose everything and to have to start over showed me that I can become an even more impactful counselor, therapist, coach to those who are experiencing those same things. So it's made me a much better person overall. And that's like a really short version of a really long story. But that is where Beautiful Things Grow in Hard Places came out of. And so I created the Mosaic Refinery to do just that. I believe that we can take those broken pieces of our life and make something beautiful from those broken pieces, hence the mosaic. And
Mm.
that's how I got here.
I really love that story, and it just hearing from it, the highs and the very, very lows. Just for the context of, the audience, how long do you think, if you remember, like, was this going on for, like, this broken marriage to the point where you were just, before you found the flower, like, how long was that approximately?
Well, that marriage, honestly, in retrospect, should not have happened. It should
Mm.
not have happened. I was really young and in my 20s, and though I was a professional, there was a lot that I had not dealt with in my personal life. And so we'd gotten married in like 2006 and started to really have trouble like year one, year two. So it wasn't long into the marriage. But sometimes we've got that willingness to fight for the wrong thing. And so I spent a lot of time fighting to establish something that just didn't have a solid foundation. So from problems to separation was about 2 or 3, 4 years, about four
Mm.
years before we separated. And then in the separation, I was still trying to figure it out and work it out. And in that separation space, I hung out there for maybe almost 2 years before I accepted that this was done.
Wow, that is such a long time. And, especially in a world where everything is instant. Like, we're always talking about 3 seconds. No, it was
Yeah.
7 seconds before. Now it's now 3 seconds. 6 years just to be in the depths. But that's not even the bit before, where it was the wrong marriage and you kind of like was fighting for it, like using your words.
Mhm.
And sometimes we don't realize what we're doing, and we
Yeah.
don't realize how the damage is piece by piece, day by day,
Yeah.
until it just crumbles, and one
Yeah.
day everything cracks and crumbles, and then you go, wait, what happened?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I really salute you in not in having the power to not blame yourself through that process, because like now, because actually I know, sometimes we don't actually want to admit that part of ourselves and accept that part of ourselves.
Yeah.
But then now you've kind of like come out and go, no, actually, yes, I went through that, but then I can come back out the other side.
Absolutely. That is not the end of me. If anything, it was the it was the opportunity for a new iteration of me to be born. And that's exactly what happened. It was ugly. Okay. The process was ugly. It was grueling. I would not recommend it. But life does not give us a choice. Hardship is a part of life. It's a part of
Yeah.
life. So, for me, it was figuring out how to eventually figuring out how to make something good out of a bad situation.
And
And
you mentioned a
something
lot
good.
about, sorry.
No, I was going to say that something good wasn't necessarily like the relationship working out, but how to make something good out of what it was doing to me is
Mm.
what, I opted to do.
And actually, it's really interesting how you just said that, because the definition of good might not look like something like, oh, we actually recovered our marriage, which
Mhm.
is what in a lot of society, in the books, that's like, If
Yeah.
it's not working, go fix it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not as easy as let's go fix it. It's
Right.
actually what's great and for me, what works for me.
Hmm.
And the beauty of what you found in your in that flower is, oh wait, that's me.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I love that. And you talked a little bit about, how you had a really strong community. Was that something that you knew that you wanted to go, like, okay, I'm just gonna call on the girls today and let me go cry? Or, how did you manage that? Because it's a lot of emotion.
It is. During that space of time, well, I have always fortunately had a really great group of girlfriends. I really feel like those are probably like the most important relationships. There's your spouse if you have one, there's your partner if you have one. But I think the people that you really do life with at the end of the day is that group of girlfriends. You don't need many, but if you've got one or two solid girlfriends, I really believe you can get through anything. Right? These are the
Mm.
people who are going to hug you when you need to be hugged. They're going to cry with you when you need to cry. They're going to pick you up. They're going to be the ones praying. They're going to be the ones holding it down, taking care of the kid, like whatever is needed, bringing you the food, rubbing your back, whatever is needed. So I had a really great group, and what I needed to do was shrink the group. So I had friends, and there are different tiers of friendship, but I drilled down to those that were going to do this thing with me day for day, because it was dark, and I was not my usual joyous self. And so that also is not the easiest thing to be around. And like, not everybody is that type of friend either.
Mm.
Not everyone is that. There are friends who you can travel with, and then
Mm.
there are friends who can walk through the hard parts of life with and will travel that road with you. Not everybody can handle that road. Not everyone can handle that journey. Not everyone knows what to say. Not that there even is anything to say, but a lot of people don't know how to do that. But I do think everyone is capable of identifying one or two people, and if
Mm.
if they cannot, seeking that community out, because once you open your mouth, you find out just how much you're not alone, and other people are going through something similar, or have been through it, or will be going through it. Once I
Yeah.
started sharing some of the lessons, and I wasn't outing, my spouse, or like I didn't get into he did this and he did that. That wasn't helpful. That's just tea, and I wasn't spilling any tea. What I got into were the lessons that I was learning along the way that I found to be helpful for me. And I was sharing those things to encourage other people, because, I'm a cheerleader at heart. So I wanted to encourage others. And that is what I would share. And then I would get messages from people saying, I had no idea, but me too. I'm also going through X, Y, and Z. Like, how did you do it? And you are encouraging me by sharing your story. So that community exists, but you really can only find it if you do say, find someone that you trust, who you can share what's going on, who you can share that with.
Yeah, and that is like so important. Like myself, I'm also very lucky that I've always had a community around me. They
Mhm.
might change, they might not be the same people all the
Mhm.
time, all through the years, but there are
Mhm.
still some that are going to be, there's always someone to hold me. There's
Yep.
always someone like, ready to catch when you fall.
Yep.
And I think uh, a lot of people, myself included, is we tend to go into isolation. We tend to hide
Yeah.
when we go through difficult things, and it's easy to just go under the covers and go, okay, I'm not here. Like
Mhm.
I'm not doing this.
Mhm.
And some days it is great to do that. We need to do that.
Yeah, but don't stay under there.
Don't stay under there.
Under there.
And it's those community, those girls, right, who are gonna come and look for you under the covers. Hey,
Yes.
you're gonna come out now.
Yes. Yes. You got to come out like that. There is nothing wrong with a shaky, wobbly, I just don't know, but I guess I'm gonna come out like a shaky, wobbly yes. I've been talking about that recently, about the power of a shaky yes. It's still a powerful one. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not possible. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not doable. It's already hard. Right? So like when you hit like a difficult patch or a difficult season in life, and let's say it's going on for months or years in my case, right? It's already hard. So whatever you feared losing, you already don't have. Whatever you feared dealing with, you're already dealing with. So we can stay where we are and continue to just let life happen, or we can look at this situation, this hardship, this challenge, this breakup, this shift, the layoff, whatever it is, and say, okay, here's an opportunity, and get in the driver's seat. Like, what do I want to do? How do I want to lean into this? And asking the questions like, what is this situation trying to teach me about me?
Mm.
What am I not looking at? What am I not dealing with? How did I get here? That's what I had to deal with. Everybody has an origin story. It is not just, oh, I picked the wrong guy. There was a whole life that I lived before I picked that guy.
You
What
mean
is this?
when we're the common denominator in all of it? I
Yeah,
had that struggle. I was like,
yeah,
"No, it's the guys," and
yeah. So
so my
let me
friends
shoot,
go,
Janette, let me just share with you. When I first went to therapy, actually, when he and I first went, he didn't go very much, whatever. But I stayed because she was willing to work with one of us, because her MO was like, if I can get one of you on board, we could probably like figure this out. Because if we make some movement with you, we could probably get some traction with him. But when I went with my laundry list, like, here's what he's doing. Here, I want you to get into this. And she said, okay, ma'am, all that might be true, but what about you? How did you get here? And I said, oh, she snatched every edge I had. I said, okay, all right, let me reapproach this differently. Because that's where I really learned, like, to focus on myself is to really figure out just what it is I'm working with, what tools I have, what tools I don't have, what I think I got going on, what's a facade, what's real, what's not, like all of that, and do my own work, because at the end of the day, I had to live with myself.
mm,
Whether or not this thing worked out, whether or not the job worked out, whether or not the supervisor changed, whether or not the relationship lasted, I still had to live with me. So I got into my stuff, and like, that's really where the sweet spot is. Not easy. I'm saying you will walk around feeling like you don't like your therapist or your coach if they're
don't
really
like is
doing it right.
probably an understatement, but
If you don't feel some irritation, you ain't doing nothing in there. You're not doing anything. And so, like, I don't try to pretend that doing deep work is easy or a cakewalk. It's not easy. It's not cute. I would go to therapy and come back. Matter of fact, I'd ride back home in silence. I'd ride back home in silence, and I'd get in the bed and I just have to sleep after that. Like, that was a lot. That was a lot, and it took a long time to go from feeling like I was on the bottom of the earth to standing tall again and finding a mountaintop. It took a long time, and still, like, nothing is perfect. I still have to deal with life's new challenges, because, like, unless I'm standing alone on an island, you know, I
it
can't
does
expect.
it keeps coming, right? And
Yeah,
then there's the
like,
next
the
bit and the next
challenges
wave and the next
keep
wave.
coming, right?
But to
So,
go back to what you said earlier about how a shaky yes,
mhm,
and it's not a yes to anyone else, it's a yes to yourself.
yes,
You
yes,
know, that is still the most powerful yes,
yes,
even
yes.
if it's under the covers.
Yes. Yes, you do not need to be standing tall with your chest puffed out in order to say yes to yourself. Most of the time, it's going to be a terrified, shaky, legs wobbling. I don't know how I'm going to come out of this on the other side kind of yes. But that is just as powerful of a yes. And it's probably going to be the most meaningful yes that you ever say to yourself. And I don't think there's anybody who ever regrets saying yes to their own growth, their own healing, their own journey of wellness, of wholeness. You're not going to lose. There's no losing when you say a yes like that. But
Mm.
just because it's shaky doesn't mean that it's not good. A shaky yes is a powerful yes.
That is such a powerful and inspiring message for everyone. So if everyone hasn't written down that as a quote, please do it now. I'll give you time.
Mm.
Because it's something that in this day and age we forget. Everywhere you look, there's people who is, on social media, whether it's in marketing or wherever you go in a corporate space, whatever, it doesn't matter where you are. People are like, oh no, 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 it's all good, it's all good.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yep, 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 it's all good. And it's like, no, you're allowed to want to, like, you're allowed to take a sick day. You're
Yeah.
allowed to be
Please.
like, oh, I can't, like, I have no human days. So I'm like, wait, no humans today.
I love it. I wish. But I get it. I get it completely. A day to just be. Yeah, we need that.
Yeah.
We need
And
that
so,
to
but powerful.
recalibrate.
Yeah. How can we choose to actually empower ourselves by listening
Mhm.
really, truly carefully, not just to ourselves, but also, you mentioned God. For me, it's universe, however you want to refer to it,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, is that beautiful pink flower. Like, I literally saw the image when you were talking of describing it. That beautiful pink little flower standing tall on her own. Like, yep,
Mhm.
I'm here and I deserve to be here.
Mhm.
How can we all empower ourselves to be that little pink flower in that massive concrete of the world?
Yeah. Yeah. You can do hard things. You can
Yeah.
do hard things. You can stand up in the midst of obscurity, in the midst of difficulty, in the midst of the storms, in the midst of all this cracking going on around you. While it seems that everything is falling apart, you can do hard things and stand tall, and it will not break you. If anything, it's an opportunity to make you into the version of you that you desire. I think so, too often we assume that the next best version of ourselves comes out of really fluffy and beautiful things. Like if I just buy the right clothes, wear the right makeup, and make these outward adjustments, that it's going to be all good. And a lot of times that next version of you actually is coming out of some concrete. It's dirty, it's messy, it's murky, it's rough, it's painful, but you can do hard things, and we can stand tall in the midst of all of that and know that, listen, you can't say nothing to me when I come out of here now. Like I got this. I've got it in me, you've got it in you, and we are capable and we are able. And yes, beautiful things grow in hard places, and we are all beautiful things. Just we just have to trust in that shaky yes.
I love that. That is so powerful. So before we close today,
Mhm.
um, obviously there's a lot to digest as well and a lot to share. What is, if you had to really pick and choose one piece of advice or one tip that you can give to the audience who might be experiencing something similar to what you did, what would that piece of advice or that tip be so they can have the strength to continue to go or
Mhm.
to start going on their growth journey?
You can only find out if there's light on the other side of the tunnel if you actually keep going. You've got to keep going though. Ask yourself, what has this come to teach me? Get quiet enough, however you have to do it. Find the corner, go to the car, wherever you get clarity, however you can get the noise in your head to quiet down. Whatever that needs to look like, whether it's meditation or walk or jog,
Mm,
you've got to get quiet enough to find out what this has come to teach you. And you don't need to have all the strength in the world, all the energy in the world in order to go forward. These are just micro moments at a time, small moments at a time. And sometimes you will need to rest. Just because you're resting doesn't mean you're not doing anything, because rest is also productive. Take the rest and keep going. That is the only way to get to the other side, is to go through it.
and there is always light at the end of the tunnel when you go through the
Yep.
tunnel.
but you've got to keep going. So even if it means it's an army crawl, even if it's an army crawl, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much for sharing all of that and sharing your story so vulnerably, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been easy, but like you said, if you hadn't gone through that, you wouldn't be this beautiful you out the other side, and knowing that you've got the strength to carry on no matter what life is going to bring you now going forward.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Janette.
Thank you so much for this. And, for the audience, whether you're watching live or watching the replay, we would love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the episode? Was there a specific quote that you like? My personal favorite is a shaky yes is still a powerful yes, but maybe you've heard something different that really resonated with. I would love to hear from you, and just put it in the comments below. Myself and Chivonne would love to see it. And if you have any experiences, please do share, so that everyone watching this who are going through something similar knows that actually they're not alone.
Yeah.
We're never alone in this journey. There's always someone going through something similar, or someone who's gone through what you're going through right now. So seek help. The community is there waiting for you.
Yes.
As soon as you are willing to reach out. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And, and also share with us in the comments what was one thing that you want to take away from Chivonne's story. For those of you who want to connect more with Chivonne, please connect with her on LinkedIn. You'll find her there. She is also on Instagram, and she's going to be sharing a lot more of her insights, her stories, and adding value to your life if you have had something similar, or if you just want to, you're going through something really difficult and you just want more of Chivonne to get you out the other side.
Come find me.
Yes, she is there. She is available. So thank you so much once again. And thank you everyone for watching the live or the replay. And we are going to be going live again in 2 weeks' time. So I will see you all again soon. And thank you once again, Chivonne. See you next time.
Janette.
Bye.